Welcome to another market update, market breakdown call. Today is October 14, Tuesday. So it is about almost noon. We have Fed Powell speaking in about 30 minutes, and we're going to see how that goes. So starting from the top, Bitcoin, we were basically anticipating sells on Bitcoin, a bit of a counter trend trade. The daily time frame is bullish. The weekly time frame is bullish, but the 4 hour time frame was bearish. So I just expected a pullback into the EMA, into the area of interest, and a sell. Now most pairs are having the move that I expected them to have, but they're also having a weird retracement because of the news event that's about to take place. So we just have to kind of watch that and see what happens. There's nothing to do here on Bitcoin. I basically expected it to sell into this area of interest before we can take any buys. Um, it has done a lot of selling, but it hasn't really sold all the way into that area of interest. So what could happen is when Jerome speaks, we could see news spike into this area and then react off of it once that happens. But we'll have to wait and see about that. This one is an interesting one. So the S&P had a very, very strong selling day. And then we basically bought back into this little area of interest on a lower time frame, a 4 hour area of interest. And what I expected is sells to take place, pull back into the area of interest and sells. That's kind of exactly what happened. So we had price close up here, and then we opened and went directly downwards. Price sold for a little bit for literally 15 minutes. We opened, sold for 5 minutes, sold for 5 more minutes, and sold for the last 5 minutes. And since then, price has been climbing back up. Now, ideally, price will react from here. We have like a head and shoulders. We have like a triple top right here. Um, I could expect price to consolidate right here for a little while. And when news happens, we could probably see a, oops, we could probably see a wick to the upside or something like that happen, and then price just sell from there on out. Same thing with the Nasdaq. We opened at 9:30, price pushed down, um, and then kind of retraced, broke, retested above the like 1 minute and the 3 minute EMA, but we're still below most major EMAs, such as the, I believe, 1 hour, 2 hour, and the others. So these ones are the most respected. As you can see, we break above a little bit, then we sell, then we sell, then we break above, we retest, we buy, we break below, break above, retest, buy, so on and so forth. So I do expect price to find a resistance up here and continue to sell from this area. US 30, very, very similar to the other two. This one had more of a aggressive reaction to the downside. Now, you'll notice we never actually created a lower low on the 1 hour time frame. Same with the 4 hour time frame. We're still trading underneath this main structure right here. And now we are retesting the 4 hour EMA. Now, what do you notice about the 4 hour EMA? I notice how many times price reacts from it and returns to it. So I think that's exactly what we might be seeing right now. Price preparing for the news, we might create a little wick right here and then just sell off. Or technically, this candle will contain the news event, so we could just see this being a huge wick up, and then price actually closing all the way down here, or something along those lines. Or we could just see price spike way up here and then create new highs. That's totally fine. But we weren't going to look for buys unless we broke above this area of interest, retested and bought. Same thing with here. We were talking about that yesterday, where we won't be looking for buys unless we break above this EMA. We never did that, so we broke below, retested, and sold. Um, that's how that's been going. Now, gold. Gold's an interesting one as well. we have basically we're kind of creating a similar structure to right here where we sold into the EMA, created a double bottom, and then broke above, retested, bought. Price likes to return into the EMA quite a lot. That's exactly what we did. We sold very aggressively. We bought up, then we sold once again, retested the EMA once again, and now we are trading upwards. I have a feeling that whatever Jerome Powell will say is going to affect gold just as much as it affects anything else. And it's most likely going to cause it to spike up. That's been the pattern with gold recently. It's just been moving up, up, and up. Dollar index, US dollar, weekly time frame has pulled back into this area of previous structure. Daily time frame is reacting from that daily structure. 4 hour time frame seems to be creating a double top. We were basically waiting for price to break underneath the EMA and sell. Now, what I am seeing is, I guess price hasn't exactly created a higher high, has it? No, it hasn't. So we never actually closed above this structure point. It means that this is still the higher low for the higher high. Therefore, this is still a valid idea, which is a break underneath, retest of the neckline for the double top, retest of the EMA, and then sell. AUDCHF. AUDCHF is a trade that I took this morning, shortly after waking up. I literally hopped on the markets and I saw that we were already selling. Ideally, we would have entered right up here after this break and retest and engulfing or whatnot. But I ended up entering right around this 30-minute engulfing to the downside. It was literally at 6:30 when I entered. So yeah, we had the 30-minute engulfing. I sent the signal a little bit lower, stop loss right above the little wick right here above the EMA, and price has just continued to the downside. Now, I was going to close right around here at a 1 to 3, but I do expect price to break through this low. Overall, we've been moving downwards pretty well. Higher time frame structure is very, very bearish. Weekly structure, very, very bearish. So there's no reason for us to switch that up. I do believe that we'll just continue to the downside. Um, yeah. Hopefully the news helps us get there. I do think that we're just reacting from this EMA, creating a little double top right here, and then we'll just sell immediately from where we are. Um, looks like we're already starting to see some sellers re-entering this market in preparation for the news. People are trying to push price down a little bit. Now, what you'll notice is we're above this high. We just swept above this high. Now, what is this high in terms of liquidity? What's up here? Well, there's tons of orders up here, whether those are buy orders, whether those are stop losses, whether that's just people hopping in this market ready to buy because we broke above. Now, if there's lots of buyers here, then the sellers have people to sell to, right? Those buyers are going to buy up all those orders and push price back down. So that's exactly what's happening right now. I'm not sure if I should enter or not. Probably not gonna. I'm just gonna watch entering before Fed Powell says anything is risky, especially within like 15 minutes of that happening. GBP USD is not a trade that I took. It was one that I was planning to take. In fact, this is a position that I placed yesterday during the call around the same time. I basically said you could enter right now, stop loss above this for a 1 to 2. What happened? Price literally cashed out that 1 to 2 exactly as expected. Fantastic. Now what's happening is price is retesting this little lower time frame area of interest, or these wicks. Technically, it looks more like this. So we're retesting this entire area. I do expect price to just continue to sell. 4 hour time frame is now bearish. So we were bullish for a short time. We are retesting the double top neckline and creating the lower high for the lower low right there. So just expecting sells. Euro CHF finally broke underneath the structure, retested it, and sold pretty nicely on the weekly time frame. Now we retested that area of interest on the daily once again. Very, very clean Monday, sold, and now we are retesting this structure right here with the wick. As you can see, price is already starting to react from the EMA. I mean, it's as simple as it gets. We have a support, we broke underneath, turned into a resistance in confluence with the EMA, and price should just retest and sell at least into this structure point here. If not, then even a little bit further below. Um, I would base my take profit off of like this structure right here or something like that. I really don't know. I don't really trade Euro CHF as much as I would like. Last trade I took on it was right here. As you can see, we got taken out and then price went in our direction and is currently still selling in that direction. GBP AUD is an interesting one. Looks like the daily EMA is holding price quite strongly. Now, two things can happen right now. We can, one, or technically three things, but two of those are buying scenarios, and one of them is a selling scenario. So, what do we have going on? Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and 4 hour time frame is bullish. So, if the selling happens, it'll happen down here for a break retest of this to sell. Very, very high risk counter trend trade. Now, what's happening now is we had the break, we had the retest of the area of interest, and now it looks like we're having a secondary retest of this area of interest. Now, it happens, it's normal. Price tends to do this where we break, we leave the area of interest, then we come back, then we leave, then we come back multiple times in the same direction. So I'm guessing this is just a secondary retest before we can get the continuation to the upside. Same thing with Euro USD or Euro AUD, excuse me. Well, this one less so. You can see how clean we pushed up. We retested perfectly and we pushed up. I guess right now we're going to be creating a double bottom right here at the EMA. You can see how many structures we have here. We have one, two, three structures. That's an area of interest. On the 30-minute time frame, we are retesting that area of interest. We are also retesting the EMA, kind of. I think the 15-minute EMA is the one that is being retested right now. And you can see how this is an even better area of interest on the 15-minute time frame. But yeah, retesting this and pushing up should be similar to the way we react on GBP AUD. NZD CAD. NZD CAD daily time frame created a lower low, having a pullback. Now, I was waiting for the pullback into the daily area of interest. Now, we do have this previous structure that I also marked up, and that's what price ended up reacting from. Previous structure, double top retest of the neckline and sold. That one is pretty simple as well. I believe that's exactly what I had mentioned yesterday. Now, what are we doing? We are retesting the area of interest again to potentially continue to sell. Now, I don't really like trading pairs that have these type of choppy little moves because there's always the chance that price is going to use this and then kind of push down, never create a low, and then retest the area of interest or the EMA and then sell, kind of the way we did right here. As you can see, if you were going to be taking sells on this structure point right here, your stop loss was like this, you probably got taken out of this trade. Now, similarly, we could be taking a sell like this, and then price actually ends up pushing up into the EMA, then continuing to go down. So it's just not a fantastic setup, but it does kind of make sense. The way price is moving, we're kind of moving like this right now, where it's choppy, but it's moving in one direction. And then we're going to do some crazy stuff and break above the EMA, and then we're going to actually break back below. And that's the way this pair moves. Not my favorite right now. AUD USD, AUD USD retested the area of interest on Monday, sold. Now we are retesting previous structure. and potentially also another area of interest on the 4 hour time frame. Preferably, we would be selling from a daily area of interest, which we kind of are. On the daily time frame, we did pull back. I guess what we're doing right now is creating a um, lower high on the 4 hour time frame in order to continue to sell. It's not my favorite simply because we are pretty far away from structure and like it would be way better if we had retested all the way up here, because then we would be retesting the EMA area of interest, previous structure, and then sell. Maybe that will happen because of Jerome Powell. We have about 10 minutes until he speaks. So I guess I wasn't quick enough. We're going to end up seeing, hopefully, it doesn't change up the entire market analysis, but we'll see what happens. Still looking for sells there. USD nothing has changed. Looking for the break and retest underneath this area of interest. Just like I had mentioned yesterday, we created a lower low, then we created a lower high. Now we are creating the lower low, and then once that happens, we'll create a lower high, and then we'll be underneath the EMA, and then that's when we're going to sell. Okay. Still the same, nothing changes. Still waiting and watching on that. EuroCAD, finally, the buyers are back in control. So what happened is we had sold, go, wow, we sold, we went bearish on the daily time frame, and kind of have this little area of interest right here, I guess, that we retested. We have one, two, three structure points, retested area of interest, retested EMA, and now we are pushing up from the EMA. Price does like doing that. It does like retesting EMA and then having strong moves to the upside. So that's kind of what I expect to happen. 4 hour time frame did what? It went bearish, bullish, previous structure, retest, lower high or higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Now, ideally, we were waiting for price to break above the EMA and above the area of interest. Now we don't need that to happen. We are above the EMA. We don't have to be above the area of interest because I don't think that um, the sellers are turning this market around anytime soon. I think the worst we might get is a retest of what looks to be like a, can't really call this a double bottom. I'm not sure what pattern this would be, a shoulder, head, shoulder. I guess a head and shoulders neckline. Whatever this structure is, these two structures, we could retest them and then push up um, from there. That's going to be what we look for. GBP NZD. GBP NZD. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is pulling back into previous structure. We had a higher high on the 4 hour, creating the higher low, retesting previous structure, retesting this structure. So we kind of have like a mini area of interest right here. If we do push lower, that could be nice, but I don't think we will. If we do, we'll create a double bottom, but I'm pretty sure that we're just going to end up closing like so, or we might even close all the way up here, depending on how or if what Powell says affects GBP NZD, which doesn't really make sense to me. I think it would only affect USD pairs. So we'll see. Price might close with the doji. The next candle we get might be engulfing, and then we might just get the continuation from there. USD CAD. USD CAD, we are waiting for a pullback into at least previous structure or daily area of interest. Now we have a few wicks here that price did end up retesting. These wicks are structures on the 1 hour time frame, 30-minute time frame. Now you'll notice that price does respect the 30-minute EMA pretty well, and that's kind of what happened. We broke above, retested 30-minute EMA, broke above, retested 30-minute EMA, retested previous structure. From here, I would not be surprised if price just continued to go up. It has been very, very bullish recently. So that might be exactly what happens now when Powell speaks. If not, then we might break straight through this area of interest and then go ahead and retest a daily structure point or a 4-hour structure point, which would be a little bit better for price if we pushed in a little bit lower. That would give us some breathing room, tighter stop loss, and a better overall risk to reward. Next is Euro USD. Euro USD, quite the pullback. I actually had mentioned this to someone and said in the school community they were trying to take this trade to the downside, and I was like, there's a chance that we're about to have a full reversal here, especially with the news coming up. And I kind of broke this down, I think on Monday, where price has broken below this EMA and then broke back above and continued to buy. So this kind of what we're doing right now, broke below. We have structure, previous structure, area of interest. We can easily just break back above and continue to buy. In fact, with the higher time frames, which are the weekly and daily, market structure is bullish. We're bullish on the weekly. Daily is bearish right now. 4-hour is currently, if we close right now, we're going to be bullish on the 4-hour. Yeah, because we created the lower low, and this will be the shift of structure to the upside. And depending on what Jerome Powell says, we could just create a small wick and then just continue to buy, or we could just close all the way up here in the next 40 minutes, And if that happens, then that's fantastic. All we have to wait for, retest of the EMA, retest of the neckline, retest of the double bottom, and then continuation to the upside. So overall, I'm just going to be trading with the weekly time frame. I know the daily and the 4-hour are bearish, but I can almost guarantee you that price is about to push up. But we'll see what happens. If we end up down here tomorrow, then we'll just look for like our analysis will basically remain the same, except for now, instead of looking for a break and retest above, we'll be waiting for a break and retest below. NZD USD. NZD USD, weekly time frame bearish, daily time frame still continuing those sells that we caught last week. Price has literally just been creating lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. No pullback to daily areas of interest, no pullback to daily structure. Still waiting on that to happen. And maybe Jerome will do that for us. Maybe he'll push us into this area and then push us back down. We have about 4 minutes until he speaks. Now, I don't understand exactly how the news reacts. It's not going to happen right away because it's not like he's just going to step on the podium and say, well, he could. He could literally just say what he needs to say and then get off. But usually they do like a little intro and that whatever else. It's a press conference, so he has to talk. It's not like NFP where they just literally just drop numbers and then market goes crazy. Okay, so weekly time frame here is bullish AUD CAD. Daily time frame is bearish. Now we have retested the EMA. Overall, we were looking for sells. That's exactly what we got. We were looking for sells. Price retested, broke underneath the EMA. We were above. We broke underneath, retested, sold. I mean, you could have honestly entered after this 30-minute retest right here. Broke underneath, retested, engulfed. You could have caught a 1 to 2 pretty easily right here. Stop loss like that. And then you have your 1 to 2, almost a 1 to 3. So that's fantastic. Now what happened now is price is starting to react to the upside. Not exactly the best, especially considering the fact that overall weekly time frame is very bullish. I think we talked about AUD CAD. Actually, I think I talked about why is everyone trying to contact me right now? Sorry about that. It's like as soon as I do these calls, I'm the most important person in the world. And it's annoying. Nobody texts me anytime during the day except for now. Daily time frame is bearish, so I guess as of right now, we can continue to look for sells, but there's a good chance that if we break above this area, retest the double bottom, or retest the neckline of the double bottom, then the EMA will just give us some support like so, and we will just continue to buy. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to be looking for buys. And if not for sells, then I guess we kind of have like a little area of interest right here. Um, you have structure here, here, and here. Maybe you can count this little one as well, but it's not my favorite in the world. So AUD CAD had the sells that we were expecting under the EMA. Now the buys that we will take are going to be above the EMA if we even get those. But for right now, I guess sells are the best option. There's just not really an entry for us. We are retesting this little previous structure, which is cool. Um, but it's not cool enough for us to risk money, you know? Euro NZD. Man, I gotta hurry this up. Euro NZD. There's no way we're getting through the next 15 pairs in the next minute. So we're just gonna have to brace ourselves. Hopefully you guys don't have any trades open. Or if you do, let's watch whichever the ones they are. Drop them in the chat. Euro NZD. Actually, I do have a trade open. What am I talking about? UDCHF. All right, we've got about a minute. Now I'm curious to see how NASDAQ and US 30 are going to react because I was interested in trading those for sells. Price came back, filled in this entire empty space, and is now kind of retesting this triple top looking structure. So yeah, let's see what Jerome Powell says and does. Where were we, by the way? NZD, AUD CAD. I think we were talking about AUD CAD. Yeah. So we talked about this already. Euro NZD. Euro NZD weekly time frame, bullish daily time frame. Bullish. We had pulled back, retested structure, retested EMA, retested area of interest, and pushed up. Now the next best thing that could happen is a pullback. Same thing, retest the structure and continue to push up. GBP, same thing, pull back into the EMA, continue to push up. Retested the EMA here. Now tomorrow, if we do close as is, we might see a wick to a wick to the downside into this previous structure. And then the candlestick closure bullish would be the best to see. AUD NZD, AUD NZD. Now this one, I think I was talking about us potentially getting a double top or a double bottom. But in order for us to trade this, we have to either break underneath retest or break above retest. That's exactly what we're waiting for, because this is perfect structure for us to create a continuation move from. GBP CAD. Now, same thing. Somebody was looking to take sells, and I basically told them there's very, very low chance of us breaking through this area, this like little triangle that we're creating here. And if we do, then we're going as far as this little area of interest before we turn back around. Why do I say that? Well, because market structure is bullish overall. We have been just kind of climbing upwards. Daily market structure has been stuck inside of this like bullish wedge, and we have never the only the only trades that hit take profit here are the ones that you take to the upside. Like you buy here, you hit take profit above this structure and above this structure, and even above this one if you're lucky. But if you're taking sells and you're targeting lows, then you're never reaching your target. You're never reaching this next target. Except for this one, you took a sell and you could have maybe profited off of this trade. Now price is trading above the EMA, probably just going to continue to bounce around in here until we eventually probably sweep some liquidity down here, break above, retest, and then buy because we're bullish. I mean, weekly's bullish, daily's currently bullish, and 4-hour is also now bullish. So if you want to take buys, you can take buys, but chances are Like I said, you're just going to hit your head right up against this area of resistance and then bounce around in here. So not interested. Still nothing, huh? Am I wrong to think that it's now? Thought it was at 7:20 my time. All right, GBP-CHF. GBP-CHF did the perfect thing that I expected it to do. We're under the EMA, daily time frame is bearish, and we were looking for a continuation to the downside. What happened? Well, we created this little trend line moving upwards. Then we pushed down, we created a double top right here, and then we engulfed the downside under the neckline. That was basically the perfect entry signal. You didn't even have to really wait for a retest or any of that. If you did, you may have missed out because price was unforgivingly bearish here. It just tanked. So that was nice. Yeah, I'm traveling. I'm in Turkey right now. I'll be here until the end of November. Yeah. All right, GBP-CHF created the low. Now we are basically probably just going to retest the neckline, retest a little bit of an area of interest, and continue to sell. If not, if we just continue to sell now, then we might break, retest underneath previous structure, and then sell. That's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. Yeah, food's fantastic. I'm trying to lose weight, but it's impossible here. Like who goes on a vac it's not even a vacation. I'm just kind of working from here. Um, working and trading and living. But yeah, price pushed lower on the weekly time frame, daily time frame. Had gone bullish shortly. Now, we went bullish only in order to retest this EMA. And we didn't even retest it properly. It was kind of a very, very confusing move. Now, what wasn't really confusing is this move right here. This was the least confusing thing that I've seen in the market since Trump came into office. Did I say office? Least confusing thing that I've seen in the market since Trump came into office. And yeah, we just sold as soon as I saw this huge candle to the downside. I thought, okay, we're retesting previous structure or we're retesting an area of interest, and we're just going to continue to sell. That's exactly what happened. Um, Next CHF pair, same thing. This one is actually fantastic. Area of interest, previous structure, we sold, we pulled back, we engulfed, and we sold again. Next thing to do is just wait for a pullback. Same thing, previous structure, sell again. If this does happen, which it probably won't, what we'll probably do is just pull back slightly and then sell. Um, you don't really get a double retest. And when you do get the double retest, you kind of almost don't enter because you're scared that it's going to reverse on you. Anyways, JPY pairs. JPY pairs were pretty fantastic for counter trend trades. They still are. I still believe that price is going to push into the daily area of interest. So if price pushes down into here, then we can take buys. Um, I do still think that we're going to continue to sell on JPY pairs. We haven't really retested this previous structure yet. So we're not really interested in JPY pairs at all. Now, what could happen is we could not retest at all. Like we could just maybe use this 4 hour. We might just use this 4 hour EMA, break above, become bullish on the 4 hour time frame, retest, and then buy. That's fine. If the 4 hour goes bullish, then chances are we're not going to continue to sell. That's looking like what might happen. On Euro JPY, we already created a double bottom, so we might just break above this double bottom, then retest structure and continue to buy. So all of these are either setting up for buys, which should happen. Like the buys are the best option for us right now. And if they are setting up for buys, then the buys are going to happen over the course of the rest of the week. Chances are that, yeah, we're just going to get buys for the rest of the week. Now let's go through really quickly and figure out what to trade. Let's go figure out what to trade, what not to trade. Did anything happen? No, not really. I had to pull up that live stream, see if they're saying anything important that I might want to hear. All right, let's just go through really quickly. So AUDCHF, like I said, double top, retesting the neckline. We could just continue to sell immediately from where we are. What was interesting to me is that when I was watching the USD, US 30, and NASDAQ, they were moving almost identical to AUDCHF, which just made no sense to me. Like they all started buying at the same time right here at 9:45. Like you look at CHF, started buying right 9:45. Bam. So they both had a reversal around the same time. Now I was trying to catch sells on US 30 and NASDAQ. I managed to short term, and then price turned around, took me out at break even. So I'm still working on getting back into trading indices, getting a little bit of practice in before I send any signals on it because it is volatile. It is a little bit scary, and you can make and lose a lot of money on it. So I want to be full of practice before sending any of those signals. Also, Freddie needs to code the bot for Nasdaq. I think the pip count is different. Caught a 1-to-1. Hell yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you've been trading what was it? US 30? You trade US 30 quite a lot. How's Freddie been? He's been all right. He gave me his school account, not to like, because I got kicked out. So now he basically said, go entertain the people, give them some knowledge. So that's what I've been doing on school. If you see he's hella active, that's actually me. So that's funny. But he's doing all right. He had some family related matters this last couple of weeks, so he's been kind of out. But he's been back. He's going to be back this week. And what's exciting is he's releasing a free version of the TCT. Yeah, I haven't been there either. Um, he's releasing a free version of the TCT. So those of you who have the paid version, don't worry. The free version is not the same. It is very, very restricted from what he told me. But for those of you who can't afford it or just want to try it out before without having to pay for it, then the version should be dropping sometime this week or next week, he said. So there should be like an additional free, like, because it says, I think monthly, and yeah, lifetime is sold out. Um, but there's going to be a free version that you just download and use. So you guys will have all the confluences and things like that. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to edit them. I would assume you will. Why isn't it loading? There it is. My Wi-Fi is slow. But yeah, all right, let's go ahead. I'm sorry wasting you guys' time. I'm just yapping. Let's go ahead and pick these pairs together and then we can kind of call it. So JPY pairs, once again, not really going to be interested in trading unless it's going to be for buys. The sells, I think, have already concluded. My favorite is going to be CHF JPY, most likely. If it closes bullish on the 4 hour, I will consider entering buys. I don't really have a second favorite at the moment. AUD JPY looks decent. CAD JPY looks a little scary, but it is creating the double bottom as well. If you're feeling extra risky, extra frisky, then you might be able to take buys as soon as price kind of reacts upwards above this EMA, because then we will have created a head and shoulders, retest neckline, and then buy. So we'll see if that ends up happening. If not, then we might just see the sells into the area of interest as I was expecting. And then we'll see the buys happening from here. So my alarm is still set right there. So we'll see if that happens. I will take Euro JPY and toss it at the top of our list for now. NZD pairs, or sorry, CHF pairs. CHF pairs waiting. There's nothing to trade. We're at a lower low. There's really no area of interest unless we do a nice little break and retest underneath right here. So if we do get a sell, it would be a break, retest, sell, or a pullback into the EMA, and then a sell. GBP, CHF, same thing here, waiting for a break, retest previous structure, or a pullback into the EMA for a sell. Not interested at the moment. GBP CAD. GBP CAD, not interested. We already went over this one. AUD NZD, still waiting. Not really interested until we get probably a daily closure underneath or above this structure point. Euro GBP finally showing us its true colors, which are bullish. Weekly time frame, bullish. Daily time frame went bearish momentarily, but we did, like I said, retest this EMA, created a double bottom, and are now buying. So what we could expect next is a pullback into the EMA to buy once more. Probably going to be a good trade right around this area if we do pull back into it. Look at all these structure points and look at how clean the moves happen after these structure points, right? So this is definitely an area where we would be looking to trade from if price pulls back into this area, right? Okay. Euro GBP, honestly, I'm gonna go to the one, bro. It's gonna go to the top of our list. My brain moves too fast and my mouth doesn't move fast enough. Sometimes they fight. All right, daily time frame is bullish, 4-hour time frame. Pullback. So yeah, this one is not a terrible trade idea. It is clean for market structure. Looks like all the euro pairs are moving very, very similarly and very, very cleanly. Now, if we're talking about euro pairs moving bullish, then why would euro USD not do the same, right? Because weekly time frame is doing what? It's bullish. We created a higher high. Yes, we had this huge wick, this huge pullback, but we're creating a double bottom on the weekly time frame, similar to the way we created a double top right here and then continued to sell. So double bottom, we should probably see continued buys. Yes, we are struggling on the daily time frame because we are bearish, but the 4-hour time frame is already about to close bullish. So realistically, you could wait for the break above, retest buy, or you could probably just maybe enter on a wick pullback and then buy. Now, the issue with waiting for a wick pullback then buy is that you could end up, say, buying right here, like so. Say we were to enter a position, I don't know, right here. Your stop loss would have to be all the way underneath here. And yes, that could be a decent return. Say you target these structure points right here, or say an area of interest somewhere right here. It's like a 1 to 2. But if you wait for so this is the candle, then you have a pullback, 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 and then engulfing, then you can just take the same trade, but have your stop loss a lot tighter. Okay. So that's kind of the idea there. It's probably not going to play out the way I want it to, but the idea remains the same. It's going to be a break, retest, and buy. Okay, so these euro pairs are all probably going to happen at the same time. All right, what is next? We went over this. We went over this. Okay, AUD CAD. Not terribly interested, but there's a chance that we could end up getting that to happen. Let's see, AUD, weekly time frame is bullish. Now, we did create so here's the problem, okay? I like the buys because we're bullish on structure, but we did create a weekly double top. Daily time frame is currently bearish. We are currently retesting previous structure or area of interest, and we did have a reaction to the downside. So chances of us doing this right here are not as high as I would like. I think the chances of us maybe creating a double bottom or double top right here and then selling are a lot higher than they are to buy. So we're just not going to be interested in that. NZD USD, very bearish, still waiting for a pullback into previous structure. Not interested. USD CAD, USD CAD, daily time frames pushing, 4 hour time frame is pulling back into previous structure. Maybe on a lower time frame if we get a double bottom right here, break above the EMA, retest, then we might get buys, kind of like right here. So very, very similar situation. We pushed, we broke underneath the EMA, we created a double bottom, we broke above the double bottom, we broke above the EMA, then we retested it, and then we bought. Okay. Very, very similar situation to that right there. It's funny how these type of things just show up whenever I'm trying to explain it. Look at this, double bottom, broke above EMA, retested double bottom, neckline, and bought. Okay, so very, very similar right there. So if that does happen on, say, the 30-minute time frame, early or close to London session tomorrow, I will probably look to enter. Okay. So did Jerome Powell just not say anything important at all? I guess. Maybe he got sick and called out of work. Kind of forgot where we were. AUD CAD, we already talked about this one. NZD USD, NZD USD. We were here. No, we weren't here. I already talked about this one. GBP NZD. GBP NZD daily time frame bullish, 4 hour time frame is currently pulling back to create a higher low to create the next higher high. Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's this right here is the same thing that happened right here. Okay. So what happened is we have a structure that is going bullish. We created a higher high, then we had pulled back, then we created this like elbow right here that created the next higher low, that created the next higher high. And when we created the next higher high, we pulled back not into this structure, but rather into this one, and then we pushed up. So what are we doing? Instead of pulling back into this structure, we pulled back into the lower one, which is previous structure technically, which might give us the push to the upside. So this trade could react from this 1 hour EMA, similar to the way it did right here, and then just kind of push on up from here. If you want to play it safe, what you could do is just wait for the initial reaction to happen, then wait for a secondary pullback, and then just hop in off of that secondary pullback. That way the trend is confirmed and you're not hopping in blindly on that type of a move. GBP NZD, yeah. So the reason that this one lines up very well with our analysis is because the GBP and Euro are going to always move pretty similarly. So if we were to put these side by side, Euro NZD and GBP NZD on the higher time frames, they're going to look pretty similar. Not identical, but very, very similar. Long pullback, huge push up. Long pullback, huge push up. Pullback, push up. Pullback, push up. Pullback, push up. Once again, pullback, push up. Now we're retesting previous structure for the next push up. Here, we don't have much of a retest, but I do still expect price to push from here because we do kind of have a little bit of previous structure right here. I wouldn't really call it an area of interest. Well, I guess you could. You have 1, 2, 3 structures there. But we didn't really do much of a break above and retest. We kind of just paused, pulling back, and we're probably just going to take off like a little rocket ship straight out of this area of interest. Am I super, super interested in that? I mean, yeah, it's already in our list, so we can't really change our minds. EuroCAD. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick out the ones that we don't want in this area and then the ones that we do. So Euro USD, USD CHF, we do want this here. AUD USD, it's not terrible. Like if there are going to be sellers, they're going to come in very, very soon. I just hate to, one, enter a trade so far away from the EMA, especially when we've already had like We already had so many opportunities to enter this market. Like this was the best opportunity right here. It scares me to kind of, it almost feels like FOMO trying to hop in on another push to the downside. Now, the daily time frame is bearish, and I guess the weekly time frame is also bearish. So there's no reason to really be fearful of that. Technically, we also have a daily EMA or a daily area of interest, but there's like literally an area of interest everywhere in this market right here. So you can't really pick and choose those. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna wait. We have so many other pairs to focus on. I don't want to be caught in the middle of, even though it's a clean move, I don't want to be caught in the middle of all of that. USD CHF, probably my favorite one, and it's finally moving. It's finally moving to the downside once more. Um, yeah, this is probably going to go to the top of the list. I do like the way we have kind of set up with these, similar to the way, I guess, which one was it? Now I have to sort through and find that other pair. There's another CHF pair, I think. Yeah, it was this one right here. So GBP CHF, similar to this, where we have a trend line, price created a structure, we broke through, we retested, and then we sold. USD CHF, similar thing. We have this trend line, we're going to break through, we're going to retest under the EMA, and then we're going to sell. So almost exactly the same way as I drew it up right here. Um, okay, USD CHF makes sense. We got that one figured out. Break, retest, sell. Euro CAD, just waiting for a pullback to buy. So technically, this one is above USD CHF. Here, okay, so NZD CAD, very, very similar to AUD USD, which I just took off the list. Okay, yeah, so we're going to take this one off the list and we're just going to focus on GBP USD because they're all kind of doing the same thing in terms of market structure. We're selling, selling, selling. But the difference is GBP USD has a previous structure right here. And the 4 hour just went from going bullish to going bearish. So we have this, we're basically creating the lower high on the fresh lower low. Therefore, we will get the next lower low after this. Now, there's no reason that these other ones shouldn't follow as well. I just like the fact that we created a double top and we are retesting the neckline here. Everything else lines up pretty smoothly. So we'll see what happens with that. All we're waiting for is the entry signal, really. So this one can go to the top of the list. Here, we already had the pullback. We're just waiting for the entry. Same thing here. We've already had the pullback. We're just waiting for the entry. Euro CHF, we had the pullback. And I think that while we were on the call, yeah, so we're already starting to set up with the sellers here. We created a head and shoulders pattern right here, somewhat head, shoulder, retest the neckline. What's happening at the retest the neckline is a mini head and shoulders, believe it or not. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Now notice how the shoulders tend to create multiple shoulders. So there's like two on this side, and then there's two heads, and then there's like a mutated head and shoulders. Then there's two shoulders. So do not be alarmed if we are currently creating a second shoulder on this right shoulder or this left, right. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty standard operation for Euro CHF. Now, what I would wait for is preferably proper little break underneath and then a proper little retest of previous structure in order to sell. So this one is basically ready to trade as well. USD CHF, probably in a similar situation considering it's a CHF pair, but I wouldn't really push my luck because we're still inside of that area of interest. Okay. So here we kind of want to see, what do we kind of want to see? Preferably break above since we're looking for buys. So CHF, like I said, Euro is kind of done with the sells. I do think that the buys are, or not Euro, JPY. So what I would look for is 100% a break above this EMA. You can see how price holds it or how it holds price down. We'll probably buy into this area and then have a quick retest before we continue to buy. That way we create a head and then or a shoulder, head, shoulder. If you really want to be safe, then what you do is you wait for price to actually break above here. And then if you're lucky, price will retest this area of interest before you buy. So it's just really waiting for a break and retest on that time frame. Now, what's also nice is that if you do get, did we create a lower low? Yeah, we did. So you also have this structure right here, which is your lower high to create the lower low. So if price closes above this, then all you have to wait for is that secondary pullback on the 4 hour time frame, and then you can look for your buy. So here we're looking for a shift and then a pullback, then a buy. So this needs the most price action to happen. Euro GBP just needs a pullback to buy. We have the pullback. We're just waiting for the buy. We have the pullback. So these ones all, that one can go down here. So shift to buy, shift, break and retest to buy, pullback to buy, pullback to buy. We've already had the pullback. Okay, this is break and retest. Also go to the bottom. Okay, I'm trying to sort through these. Pullback to buy. So all all of these euro pairs are the same. Pullback to buy, and these are all ready to buy as well. Okay, so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Quick recap: USD CAD. On the lower time frames, we're looking for any reason to buy because we are at previous structure. If we do break through this area and under the EMA, we're probably going to sell for a while before getting our buys back. Euro CHF, we are also at previous structure area of interest, basically waiting for lower time frames to tell us that we are going to be selling. We are at previous structure at the neckline of the double top or triple top, whatever you want to call it. Getting ready to sell as well, waiting for those lower time frames. Here, we're going to be waiting for an actual push up, retest to buy. Here, technically, you could also just wait for a buy. You don't have to wait for a break and retest. I mean, these will all require somewhat of a push up and then retest. That's why I like double bottoms and double tops. Like, say, for example, here, how do you trade this? Well, what I would do is I just wait for price to give me a nice bullish engulfing and then a quick pullback and then just wait for the next bullish engulfing. And then you have basically a shift of structure because you create a lower low right here. You already technically shifted, but for secondary confirmation, instead of just buying blindly from right here or buying from right here, because we could just break and continue to sell. It's always best to wait for that extra little push, then little pullback, and then the buy. So that's what we're waiting there. That's what we're waiting for there. Now, these ones need a little bit more of a pullback to buy, pull back into previous structure, pull back into previous structure. Technically, we are also at previous structure if you want to, pick and choose. Either one of those areas of interest is fine. Pull back into previous structure. Or sorry, I'm saying previous structure, but I really mean area of interest. Break and retest to buy, break and retest to buy on Euro GBP, and then Euro USD CHF. Finally, last but not least, break and retest to sell. That took a whole lot longer than I expected. All right, well, thank you guys for joining. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions? No questions. Man, the buys here would have been fantastic. Wait, what are you apologizing for? None for you? What's my entry signal? What do you mean for GU? GBP USD. Um, just lower time frame shifts, somewhat of a reaction to the downside. I mean, look at previous price action. What has told like us that we need to be like what led to these buys into these buys, or say what led to these sells right here? It's just one. Wait, you can do this two ways. So since we're technically above the area of interest, you could wait for price to break back below, or not the area of interest, the EMA. You could wait for price to break back below the EMA and hope that it retests the EMA before. Well, I keep saying the wrong thing. Hope that it breaks below and then retest to sell. That would be the best option. So here, that would look like this: break below, pull back to the side, kind of creating the same structure as we do right here, and then just sell. That could be option number one. Option number two is a little bit riskier. It is on the lower time frames. You're just waiting for price to create like a double bottom like this, retest above the EMA, and then just buy there. Um, I guess that's also a big factor, is like, are you above the EMA or are you below the EMA? Like here, when you're above, you usually stay above. And then as soon as you break below, you actually sell. So there could be multiple factors. I don't exactly know how this is going to play out. I would prefer to see market structure do something like this, where we create push into the EMA, and then we don't break below the EMA, and then we finally do break below the EMA, and then we pull back and then we sell. That would be the best option, because then price would just do this and the EMA would just do this, and then we are, all happy and that. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I think it might do something else. And something else might just be a small little, continuation like that. 5 minute is not ideal, but it is what we have to work with right now. Just 4 hour lower high. Yeah, I don't really know. Any lower time frame type of stuff. I would prefer something like this, where we clearly have a reaction from one level, then we break above previous structure, and then we pull back, and then we engulf. Like this textbook trade right here. If all time frames were in sync, you take this like so, you already have a 1 to 2. Or if you're feeling, less risky, then you have your stop loss like this, and then you're maybe sitting at a 1 to 1 if you're lucky. But I prefer to have tighter stop losses. AUDCHF. This one is a little bit frustrating, but if we close on the daily time frame as is, let's see, 4 hour. So if the 4 hour closes, like let's say with the doji, then chances of us just opening and selling are very, very high. But the way we are right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we just close like this, and then we just had a pullback like so, and then just had a quick continuation to the downside of the following day. Well, that's not working. Let's pretend that that's a candle. But that does mean we have to sit through potentially a deeper pullback. I do have stop loss at break even on this trade. I won't change that. Not going to let this 3% trade turn into a 1% loss. Not in a million years. But yeah, it is what it is. If there are, let's see, that pair messed you up. Is this a buy or a sell? What are you talking about? For what? GBP USD? The red ones are sells and the blue ones are buys. So it's for sells. I can see why you got messed up, because you thought that the 4 hour time frame was bullish and that you were going to take buys. That's not what happened. And I could tell you that because price action is creating a head and shoulders right here under the EMA. We just retested the neckline of the head and shoulders and the daily area of interest, and we sold. into this area. Now, I did mention how if price entered this area, we could see some buyers. That is still a possibility, but the weekly time frame is bearish. So there's a good chance that we actually close closer to this EMA before we actually get that reaction to the upside. Oh, you entered the sell too soon? I got you. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, I mean, I kind of marked this up yesterday, like so. Basically said stop loss above here, and you could have caught on a 1 to 2. So I guess either you entered too soon or your stop loss was a little too tight. All right. Now you were in and closed. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. USD, USD. Okay, so now we're starting to see some sellers. Now this candle right here, fantastic, spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now. Um, there's a good chance that we just continue to sell immediately from where we are. Um, but you never know. You never know. Did Powell finally say something? I guess we'll never know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we did retest the 4-hour EMA. That's also a good factor for sells. Tomorrow will probably be a good selling day for that. London at 7 a.m. Yep, I'll see you then. See you London session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.